Let's scramble down on how incorrect you are, shall we?
I feel like you're just gonna blatantly disregard context and call me a biased power scaler for pointing it out, but do tell.
I have a feeling all you're going to do is just twist facts and leave out context and call me a biased Deadpool fan for pointing it out.
Now, just so we're clear, I have nothing against you personally, nor do I have anything against Deadpool as a character or people that like Deadpool, but I am here to say that he's not as strong as people claim he is.
I have no problem with you or people who dislike Deadpool. I have a problem with people who are disingenuous and then try and spread their false narrative to thousands of people online.
We consider Captain America street tier. And you open up Captain America after they just had a fist fight and they went relative to each other.
You mean a completely unarmed Captain America who literally just stood there and just let Deadpool wail at him, and when Cap actually tried to fight him, he was absolutely beating the shit out of Deadpool? Now, you could argue that Deadpool was doing the same, letting Captain America throw punches at.
First, bringing up that Captain America was unarmed is useless, considering Deadpool uses his weapon once, maybe twice, and the weapon doesn't even do that much damage to Captain America. The next thing he brings up is that Cap was allowing Deadpool to hit him, but that's just simply not true. Nowhere in this comic is it stated that Deadpool was allowed to hit Captain America. In fact, Deadpool was the only one that was stated to not be trying. And as we can see from the entire fight, Captain America was fighting back. It wasn't just Deadpool wailing on him. And it's because Captain America is fighting back that we can't assume that he wasn't trying in this fight and just allowed Deadpool to hit him. If you're trying to use Dr. Bong's statement of both of them not being afraid to die to prove that Cap isn't trying, then you need to try again, because that's not what it's implying.
However, Despicable Deadpool issue 296, it's the second time the two fight for real, and Cap has a shield. He gives Deadpool some free punches, then proceeds to beat the shit out of him. Now, Deadpool did technically get the moral victory here because he made Captain America look bad, but he lost the fight and clearly isn't very relative to Cap. And right here, absolutely suggests he was pulling his punches in previous encounters. So Deadpool only stalemated and unarmed and holding back Captain America.
If we actually look at the very beginning of the fight, Deadpool is very clearly not trying to fight Captain America. He, in fact, says that he has something to do. Also, this statement does not imply that Captain America was holding his punches against Deadpool. In fact, it would suggest the opposite, considering the fact that he mentions that Deadpool and Mad Hatter are the only people that he would actually run through with a sword. Also, to reinforce the fact that Deadpool didn't want to fight Captain America, we later see that Deadpool led Captain America to the sewers, specifically so that Captain America would find what was in the box. Also, just want to point out the fact that when Deadpool and Cap say that they meant the world to each other doesn't negate the fact that Captain America admits that him and Mad Hatter are the only people he would actually not hold back on. And as for Deadpool, Deadpool even notes that he's been idolizing Captain America since he was a child, and was so happy when Captain America offered him to be an Avenger.
Super Skrulls decided to create a Super Skrull squadron of Deadpools, in which he trained them and then pitted them against other Super Skrulls, and his squadron wiped out a Avengers, Fantastic Four, and X-Men copies of Super Skrulls. Just his Deadpool Super Skrulls alone killed them.
Okay, what you're doing here is called false equivalence. You're basically saying that because clones of Deadpool be clones of other characters, the original Deadpool must be pretty strong, which also ignores differences like skill and how well they can utilize their abilities. So all this really tells us is that Deadpool is a better trainer than a bunch of scientists, which really doesn't say much.
I don't actually care to argue against this, but if you're going to say that, then don't argue for Black Panther being above a Super Skrull when that's literally the Super Skrull program. I'm not saying you have, but I don't feel like double-checking it by going through all your videos.
Even Taskmaster was like, nah, I'm not really into fighting Deadpool. He even told himself, alright, come on, wait, I'm just making this shit look good. I'm just in for the money.
You actually presented your own fear here, admitting that Taskmaster wasn't even trying to fight Deadpool. And we've seen Taskmaster kick Deadpool's ass multiple times, so you can't tell me it's because he was too scared to fight him.
While I don't really see why this fight was actually brought up, because most of the people on that roof weren't all that great, and Taskmaster was literally the strongest rogue out of all of them, and all he wanted was a paycheck, so wasn't really interested in fighting. However, your second statement is just factually incorrect. In fact, it's the complete opposite of what you said. Deadpool usually wins and beats the crap out of Taskmaster, not the other way around. The two instances you showed were literally from Deadpool versus Punisher and Despicable Deadpool. The Despicable Deadpool one is completely invalid, considering Deadpool hired 3 people to take him out, and he got jumped by 4. He got jumped by Juggernaut, Bullseye, Taskmaster, and some random dude in a wheelchair. That random dude in a wheelchair, Bullseye, and Taskmaster, while ganging up on Deadpool, were eventually able to beat him. As for the whole Deadpool versus Punisher one, that might not even be canon, and on top of that, Deadpool and Punisher won.
Or, something about his engagements with Daredevil. The only reason why he doesn't kill Daredevil, because he could have killed Daredevil multiple times.
Considering we know for a fact that Daredevil holds back far more than Deadpool because of his roles, I don't see how this argument is applicable.
Here we go with yet another baseless claim. You haven't proven it, and your only argument is because of morals. Well, Deadpool only kills people he's contracted to kill. And even then, he hardly ever kills heroes, even when he's contracted to do so.
He keeps precautionary measures on him to scramble Daredevil's senses. And then when he doesn't realize that's the real Daredevil, he's just shooting at it thinking it's a clone. He goes, oh wait, it's the real Daredevil. Better stop trying to kill him.
And he continues to try fighting him anyway, right?
I don't know if you thought this was like some grand defeater or something, but it's not. It doesn't even contend the argument that was put in place, because just because he continued fighting Daredevil does not mean anything. The only reason he did so was because Daredevil was trying to prevent him from completing the contract.
You know he's not trying to kill him because even Daredevil says his heartbeat is steady. He's not lying. He's literally telling the truth.
So you basically just proven that Daredevil wasn't trying to kill Deadpool either, and he was holding back to listen to it.
I don't know if you're intentionally trying to commit a red herring and straw man fallacy, but you literally just attacked an argument that you yourself made. Nobody else was arguing for it. Nobody argued that Daredevil was trying to kill Deadpool, because that's not what Daredevil normally does. That's not his morals, which, again, is surprising since you brought up the morals thing. Also, your whole argument for him not trying to kill Deadpool doesn't matter either, because even if he was, Deadpool couldn't die.
And that's when Deadpool gets pissed, and he's like, I'm just gonna kill Daredevil. And she says, no, you can't, because Spider-Man doesn't like that. Since his whole goal is to be friends with Spider-Man, he said shoots the dude in the leg and makes Daredevil bring him to the hospital. But he could have just killed Daredevil right then and there.
Except he couldn't do it when he did try to kill Daredevil, so that just invalidates your claim. So all you've really shown is that Deadpool was fully prepared to fight Daredevil, tried to kill him but couldn't, kept fighting anyway, and ultimately lost to a holding back Daredevil.
No, it's almost like he showed that Deadpool didn't want to actually fight Daredevil. Daredevil's the one that initiated the engagement, even if he didn't throw the first punch. He also proved that Deadpool didn't realize that it was actually Daredevil, which means that him shooting at Daredevil wouldn't be applicable because he would be shooting at somebody who didn't have the precog that Daredevil has. Also, him saying that he doesn't want to fight Daredevil would again imply he doesn't want to fight Daredevil. The only reason he continued was because Daredevil wasn't going to allow him to continue his contract. So instead of actually having to deal with Daredevil directly and risk upsetting Spider-Man, he decided that he was going to harm somebody else to get Daredevil off of him. Also, I love how you say that Deadpool was ready to fight, but also don't acknowledge that Daredevil was also ready to fight, considering he's the one that started the engagement. Also, you're twisting facts, because Deadpool only lost due to the fact that he had decided that in order to be friends with Spider-Man, he couldn't kill Daredevil.
Volume 4, issue 18, when he took on a squad of X-Men. He was dodging the lightning and the gunfire and optic blast.
Wasn't this entire encounter just a setup to make them look good, which practically everyone was in on except for Cyclops? And even if you try to argue that not every X-Men was aware of this, he didn't beat Colossus. All he did was spit on him and kick him the moment Colossus lowered his guard. Deadpool didn't beat a single character here except for Cyclops. So none of these feats are actually valid except for the Cyclops one because he didn't know.
I don't know who you're trying to lie to, but literally the only X-Men that knew it was happening was Wolverine. None of the other X-Men were in on it. If you don't want to believe that the Colossus one is valid, that's perfectly fine, but you literally can't say that any of the other ones weren't, because they didn't know about what was happening. Only Logan did. Also, I don't know why you would say that Colossus was off guard or caught off guard. He literally had Deadpool in his hands. There's no way that he wasn't on guard. Let's also not forget that Deadpool has continuously done things just like this before. These come from Deadpool and Cable number 10, Deadpool number 37 through 38, and Weapon X number 23. And as for the 2013 one, no, those are not all clones.
During the Civil War, this is Deadpool Volume 4, issue 15, when like he's running relative to T'Challa.
When? Are you talking about right here? Oh, here. Except Black Panther says this in the very next page. Then all Deadpool really does here is just run away. He runs to the bathroom to hide, gets thrown around and tries to counter, which backfires completely, tries to deliver a nutshot, and that backfires immediately. So not only were Deadpool's attacks not doing anything, Black Panther was returning them tenfold, and all he could do was run away. That is not relative at all. And we know Black Panther wasn't at his fastest in that fight, so you can't argue that Deadpool was going relative to his speed.
I legitimately don't understand what you're getting out of lying. Deadpool didn't go to the bathroom to hide. He went there to take a shit. And let's just take a look at how many hits were actually landed. Deadpool lands 5 and Black Panther hits 8. So therefore, Black Panther only hit Deadpool 3 more times. And sure, Black Panther's hits might have done more damage, but you can't say that Black Panther wasn't affected, even if he says it himself, because the comics themselves would contradict you. And if we're just going to take statements without questioning them, then Black Panther was trying to kill Deadpool, and Deadpool wasn't taking the fight serious.
I find Wolverine more often than not to rely way too much on his healing factor rather than his skill. Because despite the fact that he's meant to be incredibly fast, he somehow keeps finding himself having to play catch up against superior competition and has to take a lot of damage in order to keep up. Hence why he struggled against Batroc the Leaper at first. The difference is Wolverine has an adamantium skeleton to help him tank damage. Deadpool does not have that.
Not only are you giving us more evidence that you don't read Deadpool, but you're also being disingenuous. You said that Wolverine is relative to Deadpool because he takes damage in order to do damage. But that same thing is true for Deadpool. Deadpool will purposefully take damage because he knows his healing factor will let him live.
And it's been consistently shown that basic attacks are more than capable of knocking him out or immobilizing him completely. So
what do you call these then? Like, if those are consistent, then why are there so many more of these?
Yes, Deadpool is able to keep up with Wolverine, but that by itself doesn't really mean anything, because his primary specialty is to charge into your attacks and then slash away at you, which again wouldn't work for Deadpool.
But as we see, that's also Deadpool's fighting style, so if it's not applicable for Wolverine, then it's not applicable for Deadpool either. So this is just you being blatantly biased and a hypocrite.
During this happened, after Deadpool already had him at gunpoint, it didn't even work. I don't think he would have done any better here even if the cops didn't intervene. Also, in the previous issue, Deadpool had him at gunpoint again, and he couldn't even react to Punisher bending down, reaching into his suit, and unloading on his ass. Like, in these two issues, Deadpool had the jump on Punisher 4 times, and only nearly won in 2 of those instances, and Punisher wasn't even taking him seriously half the time. And you can't just excuse this because he was talking, because Deadpool always talks even when he's serious, and it's not the only time that this has happened.
I don't know how you can lie yet again. Deadpool only got the jump on Punisher twice, and both times he was in the middle of a monologue, was not expecting Punisher to do what he did, and also was waiting for Punisher to say his last words. And I also don't understand how you're trying to say that Punisher won when every time that Deadpool went to kill Punisher, Punisher was literally saved by outside help. Also, I don't know what you're talking about with it being consistently shown, because Punisher was also allowed to live here because Deadpool was waiting for his final words, and only escaped because of an explosion.
Suicide King issue 2, after he shoots Deadpool in the head, Deadpool ends up pulling him out of the window, slamming him on his neck, on the garage.
That was situational, the fact that Punisher electrocuted him, and Deadpool pretended to be unconscious until Punisher let his guard down, and later
How is it that you can be so hypocritical that you can call this out for being situational, but then can't acknowledge any of the other times to be situational?
the same issue, Punisher beats him anyway, and Daredevil had to save him. Mind you, Deadpool was off guard.
And now you're only telling half the story. Punisher was not only getting the jump on Deadpool every single issue for Suicide Kings, but was also bloodlusted. He had every intention to kill Deadpool.
But you did count this fight as a win for Deadpool, even though Punisher was off guard.
There's actually no way you can be serious. Punisher, in that instance, had already destroyed the raft Deadpool was standing on, meaning he wasn't off guard when Deadpool pulled the gun and was going to shoot him in the head, which would have been a win for Deadpool.
But so if that one counts, then this one does too.
It is very ironic that you literally call out a false equivalence in this video and then commit one. Let's see if we can just spot the difference where, Punisher immediately goes into trying to kill Deadpool, and Deadpool literally waits and then goes on equal footing and only fails due to the cops.
Now, Deadpool did beat Punisher here, though it was probably part of Punisher's plan.
And this is again just you being disingenuous and trying to discredit everything about Deadpool, because nowhere does it suggest that Deadpool winning this was part of Punisher's plan.
And he legitimately beat him here. I'd say a fight between the two could go either way depending on the circumstances. However,
And for you to say that this is a 50-50 matchup is just absurd, because you have yet to prove that Deadpool would lose to Punisher without context.
that doesn't exactly help Deadpool's case.
That would only be the case if Punisher wasn't very good, but that's just simply not true. Punisher is a beast in his own right.
I could probably debunk that, but you failed to show relativity between him and Captain America, so I could just dismiss this outright. But
I could probably debunk what he just said, but I don't really need to because I showed that Deadpool is above or relative to Captain America, so I could just dismiss this outright. But since you want to downplay Deadpool so much, let's talk about the time where Deadpool beat the entirety of the Assassin's Guild. Or that time he beat Tiger Shark. Or that time he fought Iron Fist dressed as Daredevil and the rest of the squad of the Avengers. And who can forget that time he beat Black Talon? Or one of the many times he's fought Agent X? Or the most recent time he fought Dreadpool? Or how about that time he fought Citizen V? Let's also not pretend like this story didn't happen. Or this time that he fought Nightmare.
anyway, I think it's very clear we established Deadpool as being barely Punisher level, which really isn't saying much and is basically the bottom of the bottom straight tier.
I think it's safe to say that we've established that Deadpool is above Punisher, and I don't understand why you think that Punisher is so bad.
Say you don't read Deadpool, and we can move on.
Just say that you're biased and don't care about context and move on.
Just say that you hate Deadpool and Punisher, don't care about context, and are massively biased, and move on.